The stiffest tree is most easily cracked, while bamboo or willow survive by bending in the wind. Today, join me for a little practice in bending. We're starting out on the mat, and we are going to lift up into swan, placing those hands with the fingers by the armpit, elbows tight to the body. We're going to press up slowly and lengthen the arms at the top if possible, and then roll back down. Think about mobilizing through the spine and lifting up one vertebrae at a time rather than the back as a solid unit, and then melting back down one vertebrae at a time as we articulate. We'll hold right here, that stretch at the top for a moment. Keep your pubic bone pressing into the mat. Now let's lift up the right leg and reach the right arm back to hold onto the foot. This night might not be possible for you, and you might need to use a resistance band to loop around and hold on to. Now let's lower down the chest as we peel the right thigh off the mat, and then we'll lower back down and release. Pressing back up into swan here, lift the left foot off and reach the left hand back to grab around the ankle if possible. Now lower down the upper body, peeling up that thigh off the mat and stretching that left leg up. Now lower that down. Press back here into rest pose. Anytime we go into some extension through the spine, rest pose is a great place to come and recover. Now moving up to hands and knees, we're going to move into cat-cow. Keep those hands shoulder distance apart and directly underneath the shoulders, the knees hip distance apart and below the knees. We exhale as we curl the spine like a cat, and inhale as we drop the belly and lift the head and tail like a cow. Now let's hold this cow shape here and curl up into the cat shape and hold here for a moment. Coming out of that, let's prepare to move now into lunge. Taking the left foot forward, we're leaning into that lunge, making sure that the knee tracks over top of the ankle and that we've got a nice wide range where we're stretching through the hip flexor of the right leg. Keep the chest upright, roll the shoulders down and back, and you can simply rest your hands on your knee. Now take that inside hand down towards the floor and twist the body towards your knee, either taking the arm up to the sky like this, or you can keep your hand on your knee if this works better for you balance-wise. Bring that back around to the center, straighten that front left leg and press back, lowering your body down close to your leg to stretch the hip flexor. If your body's much more lifted and you're still stretching here and not able to lean forward, this is fine as well. Work with your body where you're at. Make sure that you continue to breathe and that you're not holding your breath. You need to send that oxygen to your stretching muscles. Switching legs here, bring your right leg forward and sink into that stretch. Making sure that we're not leaning too far forward so that your knees extend up beyond your toes, but keeping it stacked there and really stretching back through the hip flexor. Placing that left hand down, we're going to turn the body towards the knee in the front. Lift that arm towards the sky and take your gaze there. You can also keep your gaze down to the floor if balance-wise you struggle to look up to the sky. Bringing that back center, we're going to send that right leg straight, send the hips straight back, make sure that the hips remain square and facing forward, and lean down into that stretch. Now stretching through the muscles of the back of the leg. Next, we're going to adjust into the frog. So we're going to take the knees out wide, and we're going to shift and press back into that, bringing the forearms down towards the ground. This can be a tight place for many, So we're going to try to sink in and get as comfortable as possible in a position that might not be too comfortable for us. Breathing deeply. And now lift up out of that stretch. Let's bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to open out to the side as we lean forward and take our hands forward. You may even want to press the hands into the knees as well to help and assist them come down towards the mat. You may find that your knees are much more lifted, and from here we're going to work from where we're at and be patient as we open up. Bringing the right foot forward with the left foot coming to the inside of the knee, we're going to lean forward into that. Make sure that your foot is straight out from the hip and not drifting off to the side. Lifting up. And let's switch legs. Now bringing the left foot forward, the right foot coming into the inside of the knee. Let's lean forward into that stretch here. Resist the temptation to take the crown of the head down to the leg and think about bringing the chest down towards the leg. Now we're going to open up those legs into a comfortable straddle position and point and flex through your feet. Feel the switch in the muscle and the loosening as you change positions of the feet. Now turning towards the right leg, we're going to fold forward and just relax down here, breathing deeply. Lifting up. Now we're going to turn towards the left leg. We're folding forward, stretching down, and breathing deeply. Lifting up tall. Let's fold forward here into a pancake or as close as you can. This means that we're reaching out for our feet with our arms and trying to bring our belly down flat to the ground. This may not look like being anywhere near the ground for you, but we're going to come into uncomfortable places and continue to practice there. Now coming back around, we're going to do a little bit more work through lunge and come down into splits. Bringing the right foot forward, we're going to come into that lunge. Bring the hands down to the ground, stabilize yourself, and then press the legs straight and send the hips back. So we're going to go from this lunge forward to the hamstring stretch back. Great stretches to actively work back and forth in, especially if you are trying to improve or achieve those front splits, which require flexible hamstrings and flexible hip flexors. Now drop down into that split or as close as you can come to it. Remember that if you're not able to come down into a full split, you come as far as you can, and this is the best place for you to be stretching. There's no need to force yourself to be at any place of flexibility that you are not yet at. Now lean the body forward over top of the leg. This is going to shift the area that we're stretching and come more underneath that leg in places where you might be a little tight. Now lift up tall, and we're going to bring that leg back and come to the other side. Bringing the hands down to the ground. Come from that lunge back to the hamstring stretch and pressing forward again. We're actively warming and using those muscles as we shift back and forth. Sometimes people can find this a lot more useful than just holding stagnant stretches to include those active range of motion movements. Now coming down into the split on this side or as close as you can. And breathe into that. On this particular day, go ahead and lean forward. I'm feeling a little bit tight through my splits, Some days that flexibility is far deeper than others and has everything to do with my practice and how much time I've put into it. Lifting back up and coming out of that split. Now just shift those hips back and forth. We've taken just 10 minutes today to do some stretchings that could be very useful. Remember that when you're coming into these stretches, we don't want to do so with cold muscles. We want those legs in particular to be warm. Some great workouts for warming up those legs would include my Barre or Pilates workouts that you can find here on YouTube, or you could join me in my online studio on Patreon for all of my full-length classes. We're really going to get into warming and working those muscles, and then you'll find yourself much more limber for stretching. People love to tell me that they are not flexible, and I love to remind them that flexibility is something that is improved upon and reflected by how you move and what you do. So if you have just 10 minutes a few times a week to dedicate towards stretching, you can increase your flexibility.